So this is the Speakeasy podcast where we talk about the behind the scenes of what it is to be the speaker or the author. And you saw the title, right? Why be normal when you can be the best? Okay. That just sounded like your guidance counselor from high school talking to you. But the reality is, is that as a speaker, oftentimes we think that we have to come in using a cookie cutter model. We have to come in sounding like everybody else, trying to be like everyone else, and trying to figure it out along the way that guess what? The ones that stand out, the quiet ones, the ones that were weird, the introverts, guess what? You don't have to be scared of fitting into somebody else's model. Do it your way. But that goes for each and every person that comes in. Literally, as a speaker, there is no set model. You can come on loud, you can come on quiet, you can come on rocking jeans and a t-shirt or a three-piece suit if that's what you choose. You will not see me in a three-piece suit though. But that being said, I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome to each and every one of you. Not just because you're coming in and you're sharing it out, not just because you're coming in and you're engaging, but listen, you guys have been giving me some great feedback on the guests that we have had. And today's guest, y'all going to be excited. I know. Y'all going to go follow them. Y'all going to go talk it up and chat it up with them afterwards, simply because you guys are who you are. With that being said, I want to say, hey to Logan. How are you?
Hey, Altavis, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So let's be honest. I am an introvert. Those of you that have been following the podcast, you know I'm an introvert. I don't act like an introvert anymore, simply because I learned how to, find my niche. But I still go sit on the couch and read books and put my phone on Do Not Disturb and ignore everyone. But that being said, as a speaker, a lot of times we think that there's this model that we really have to follow. And for so many years, that was what was taught to us. So first, I want you to tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into today's topic.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Well, I'm the founder and co-CEO of Y.B.Normal. This is Dante Hampton, my partner. And so we started Y.B.Normal in 2015. And so the mantra that we live by is why be normal when you can be extraordinary. What Y.B.Normal does is that we go into and serve and inspire not just our community, but this world. We go into schools, we teach curriculums, we go in and we do empowerment speaking, we do professional development, leadership development, mentoring, and also we do community outreach once a month where we come in we go in different parts of our community and we just give back to the community.
And that speaks volumes, because let's start it off on a hot topic. Schools are cookie cutter. Plain and simple. We know that Einstein said that, everybody's a genius, but if you base it off of who can climb a tree, a fish is not going to be a genius. And it's kind of like, it's always like that uphill battle when it comes to empowering the youth. And it's funny because a lot of them are great speakers. A lot of them have been through more than what some of us as adults have been through. So what has been the temperature for you going and being able to impact youth? And what was like your first experience? Was it a great experience the first time, or was it like, I'm about to run home and cry?
For me, I think at first, it's easy to go into a school where they look like you. So of course that's the norm and that's the icebreaker. So anybody that looks like you that can relate to you, of course, is be very easy. But as far as going into a diverse school, you have to really tap into see that kid's strength and also just breaking that barrier. So finding something that they like. So at that first moment, it necessarily has nothing to do with you and more so to do with them and what does they like to do. And a lot of times that could take a long time for you. As you say, you're an introvert. So if you're dealing with an introvert, you might not get into that kid for maybe 3 months, So of course there's a few exercises you could do But a lot of times, it's just simply letting that kid feel free, or letting that individual feel free. And then once they feel free, you can fly with them anywhere.
That speaks volumes. Cause yeah, my children now, we live in the country. So school here is a whole lot different than what school was when I went to school. I was city, Philadelphia all day. And so it's a completely different atmosphere. And so I can definitely understand that. But even with, as a single mom of 4 teens, all 4 of my teens are completely different. That's just the way it is. Even in the same household, even being raised by the same parent, all of them are completely different. So everybody's always going to have that individual, personality. And have you ever come across that one kid that has been your, like, I'm going to work on this. You pushing me to my limits, but I am going to work on this because I know there's something on the inside of you.
Actually, yes. To answer your question, that's a great question, by the way. You come across those individuals a lot more in our arena, especially because the schools that we go to. And so it's like Dante said, like, we go to the schools where the kids look like us because they need to see us. And that's not to say that we don't go to the schools, that where the kids don't look like us, because we do, but it's to say that, more importantly, we want to put an emphasis on the kids that look like us, because nowadays, they only see sports, rapper, drug dealer, or whatever the case may be. And so for us to go into a school and you see somebody with jeans, tennis shoes, a snapback, and some Jordans on, and you like, oh man, he got to play a sport, and you like, no, I'm here to speak, or to pour into you, or to motivate you, or to educate you. It's like, oh man, like, okay, so I can look like that and I can go change the world, or I don't have to. It's like you said, I don't have to put a three-piece suit on to sit right here and change the world for people to think like, oh man, he must be something important. Like, no, I can come into your school with a snapback on, a t-shirt, and some jeans, and still make the same effect versus than that person with that three-piece suit on and just kind of like portraying that they know what they're doing when they really don't.
That speaks volumes, simply because, listen, again, with a teenager, a middle school student, the mindset is all over the place. We already know that. But
Absolutely.
If you come in trying to present yourself as being this perfect person, or that you have it all together, listen, we don't have it all together.
Right.
Even Absolutely. As adults, that's just the reality of it. We don't have it all together. So if I can present to you and let you know, listen, show up authentically you. If that means that you like singing the Baby Shark song, if that means that you like to dance, if that means that you like to write, whatever it is that you like to do, show up authentically you, because there's going to be somebody you connect with that they would not have connected with anybody else.
Absolutely. And it's about relationships. Relationships are the new currency. And so a lot of people don't realize that, because they think like, oh, okay, I have the criteria, I have the doctor's degree, I went to school, I did this, I did that, I did everything the right way, but I'm still not making an impact. Why am I not making this impact? It's because you don't have the relationship. You're not being authentic with those kids or those individuals that are trying to figure out a way on how to get out of what their society, what their norm looks like. Like a lot of times, like I get, me and Dante, we get real passionate about these type of things, because we see kids that grow up and they don't have a dad. Some of them don't have a support system at all. And, mom has multiple kids and she can't do anything because this kid isn't acting right because she's focused on all the other kids. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, okay, we trying to bridge that gap to say, look, you know what? Look, I know how you feeling. This is what we went through. I understand your point of view. I understand what you're going through. If we can make it, you can. Let me show you the steps on how to get out of this.
Exactly. And so I want to ask you this question then, and because we talk about the real stuff here, in going down this road and going down this journey, have you had anybody that has told you, man, I don't know what you doing. You come on, you could go get this job, or you could go do this. Come help me do this. Dude, come on, we can open up a Subway and make a couple dollars. Dude, what is you doing?
I honestly, you get that all the time, because people oftentimes take for granted impacting lives, or as we say, just serve, and for us, it's not about the money. Of course, everybody needs to make a living to take care of their family or their needs, but we genuinely feel, if you put your heart into something, it will come back tenfold in monetary value in some kind of way. And so for us, we don't tend to feed off of that, and it doesn't. It just makes our days, just impacting lives. Like, I just had a kid call me, literally a fifth grader, about 5 minutes before we got on this, and he literally and his teacher, told me he's been excellent in school today. Now, granted, he got sent home 2 days ago, but it's the small victories, that he actually hold himself accountable today, and he had a good day compared to Tuesday, so that makes a difference, and that goes a long way, because that kid's going through a lot. People go through a lot. So for us, it's more so if we can change the mindset of one individual, then that holds a lot more value than somebody trying to tell me I need to be at work, or, hey, come work with me, because oftentimes if you point into the youth, well, here in 10 years, they're going to be the ones coming up with the new apps and everything, and who's to say they're going to say, hey, can you be on our board? Exactly. And yeah, I'm 20 years older or 10 years older. Well, I'm just on their board, and they're paying me because I done invested all my time in them. Because exactly. Like Mr. Logan said, relationships are new currency, so you just never know.
I love it. I love every bit of it. And those that are watching are saying, awesome, gentlemen, you are making me so proud. And I am just hearing you for the first time today. And it's, again, we know that it's, first and foremost, you said my favorite word, which is serve. I think if you lead with service, it can take you so far if you just lead with service. And I think we've gotten it twisted because so many people are trying to just get the money because they think, yeah, well, if I have the money, then I'll have peace. If I have the money, then I'll have happiness and joy. Right. And the reality is it doesn't work that way.
No.
Look at Chick-fil-A. How many sauces you get? Unlimited. You go to Burger King, you go anywhere, they're going to say 25 cents, 50 cents. Well, Chick-fil-A, they'll give you them extra sauce. They might give you that extra fry, whatever. And, of course, they got the best service in fast food, in the whole, industry.
Of course, you would bring up Chick-fil-A.
Hey, listen, we in the South. Listen, we in the South.
Chick-fil-A is the place. I have never seen, and real talk, I've never seen a place that has so much focus on service to the point where a mother with her children can go through the drive-thru, order her food, park, bring the kids in, and they bring the food to the table. I mean, that speaks volumes.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. That's why we are put on this earth. Like, what we have to understand and realize is that we're all put on this earth to serve, period. No matter what it is, no matter if you work a 9 to 5, no matter if you work at Foot Locker, no matter if you're a school teacher, a cop, whatever, we're all put on this earth to serve. And a lot of times what happens is that we get serving and what society says serving is, we get those two things mixed up.
Yes, indeed, we do.
So for us, it's about serving. That's what it's about. Like, it's about serving and changing the narrative and changing kids' lives and impacting their lives so that way they can recreate history for their family. They can change they can change their lineage on their family tree. Like, we got kids now that we've poured into, over the past 3 years where they're the first in their family to go to college. And that's because of what? That's because of serving. Like, it's not about, well, hey, pay me for this or pay me for that. It's simply about just being able to serve people and be genuine in the process of what you're doing.
So I know that a lot of speakers, because our audience is comprised, it's like literally, it's all over the map. But there are some who are trying to get into that field of being able to speak to youth because they feel as though they have a message to share, because they want to make that impact. Coming into it, what would be the first thing that you would tell them to do coming into speaking to youth, be it at an event or at a school?
I think the first thing you have to do to speak to the youth and have that impact is be authentic, be yourself. The minute you try and be something you're not, you lose. They're gonna lose interest. So whether you're from the country, no matter if you like arts, whatever it is you like to do, you have to be comfortable in that skin, because kids is like a sixth sense to them. So like if you're not all the way truthful with yourself, and you're not comfortable in yourself, and you have so many insecurities in who you are as a person, they will pick up on that, and that kid, you'll be wasting your time.
I would say, to piggyback on what Dante said, being authentic, but another thing too is to be the person that finds the solution to the problem. So find out, for example, like there's a big thing with truancy and attendance and things of that nature, of course, in our education system. So you have to find what that solution is, wherever you may be staying, wherever you may be living at, that school district, find a solution for that school district. Once you find a solution for that school district, then, it's kind of like it'll happen for you. It's kind of like that's what happened for us. Like, we found people that were doing what we were doing, and we just watched. We would ask them, hey, can we serve? Hey, are you going to this school? Okay, can you give us an opportunity to just come serve and add value to what you're doing? We don't want anything out of it. We don't want the recognition, or we don't want you to give us an opportunity to speak. We just want to serve. Just give us an opportunity to serve. And so a lot of, like I said, that's the biggest thing for me is serving. Like, if you want to do something, serve. It's simple. It's as simple as that. Just serve. And everything else will start falling into place for you once you start serving, because you have to have a heart of service before you can start making millions of dollars, or, being the next Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Les Brown or Eric Thomas or Dante Hampton. Like, you have to have a heart of service first, so that way you can find a solution to what it is that you want to do, and then you start adding value to everything else moving forward.
Great. Because it also impacts them in the fact that, they realize that, okay, y'all are serving us, I can go and serve somebody else.
Absolutely.
And it was a conversation I just had with one of my teens literally like a few days ago. And the love that she had for someone, our family member, she said, it's because she served you. It's because she impacted you. And now you can impact us. They pay attention to that.
Absolutely.
They definitely do. And I think a lot of times we miss, pouring into them, because we're like, oh, they're children. They don't, when we were younger, they would be like, you don't have, you don't have nothing to have a headache about. You don't have no stress. No, right. That's not the case anymore.
Right.
It's definitely not the case. And on a day-to-day basis, they're going through some very stressful things that as adults, not every adult can handle. So I definitely see that, as being such a huge impact, and being able to touch so many. It's interesting, because I know we wish that we could go to each and every school and touch each and every, listen, that sounded horrible. We wish that we could go to each and every school and impact each and every child, but we can't. Absolutely. And so we have to, be comfortable in knowing that every time we do impact at least one, that one can go and impact so many others. It's that each one teach one. We teach one, and then they go and teach another one, and we just have that domino effect, you know, outward globally. Because now with social media, we have the opportunity to reach people globally. So we had that one moment, and that just stretches out beyond what we even thought it could do. Now, I always ask this question, though, because people on the outside looking in, they think, oh, well, y'all been doing it for 3 years, and yeah, everything goes perfectly well, and the kids act amazing. They're amazing. Gold stars for everybody. But the reality is, is that we have some blunders. We have some things that don't go so well. So in the 3 years, have you had any of those moments where you look back now and you're like, maybe that wasn't the best choice? Maybe that wasn't a good idea at that time.
Man, what? Oh my God. We've taken so many losses. Do you hear me? So many losses just all across the board. Like, you know, when I first started the company, you know, originally there was another person that I started the company with, and that person, you know, took money from me and didn't do what he said he was going to do, you know. Had another person that reached out to me and wanted to, you know, add value to our company and stuff like that. And we were good for a few months, and then he just went cold turkey on us, you know. Just it's things like that. Or, you know, school districts telling us, you know, yeah, we want y'all. Yeah, that'll be a good idea. But then you're not pulling the trigger. Or, you know, we go somewhere and speak, and you know, kids are just acting berserk. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want to hear it. Or, you know, when we're teaching our curriculum or mentoring kids, and kids want to laugh and giggle and play around because you actually get into the nitty gritty of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so they want to laugh it off or try to disrupt class because it's like, you know, what Mr. Dante is saying or what Mr. Logan is saying, like, it's hitting home with me, but I ain't trying to deal with that right now. I ain't trying to hear that right now. So you know what? Let me make a joke, or let me act out in class. Let me be the class clown so that way I can disrupt class and we get off what it is that I need to deal with.
You hit the nail on the head with that one. Man, oh man.
Get started, please don't.
And I can only imagine with the school districts, because you're dealing with so much. I know I came from Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, they went and shut down about 50% of the school. No, I won't say 50%, but they shut down a ton of the schools and combined schools. In already overcrowded schools, we put more kids in the school and expected it to go well. What could go wrong, right? What could possibly go wrong with that? But there were 2 instances when it comes to the youth that really impacted my life. And even though I knew that for me specifically, it wasn't for me to speak to the youth, only on certain occasions, but I knew that there were some people that needed to step up. And the first one was a few years ago in Delaware, because I'm right in Maryland. I'm right on the border of Delaware, Newark, Delaware. Lost her life. It was a fight in the bathroom, and they were fighting over a boy, and the young lady hit her head during the fight, and that was it. She never made it back home. And I said, you know, afterwards, there were people who came and started speaking to the youth and coming to the, but what about what we needed right then and there beforehand?
Right.
Who was supposed to tell them that, you know, the ones that were recording it, you know, that somebody should have went and got some help, that somebody should have done something else. And so that was one. And then the other one was one of my little sisters. She sent me a message one day a few years ago before she graduated high school and said over 200 seniors were not graduating that year just from one school. And it's like, we're missing this, guys. Like, we're completely missing out on, you said it, the ones that will be our next lawyers and doctors and judges and our future president. And we're missing this moment of being able to impact their lives and impact their legacy as well as our lives in the future. Because guess what? We're going to be at a point where we're not going to be able to do as much as what they can do. is what they can do. So when you're meeting with the youth, I have to ask this question. Do you have a preference of working with males over females? Because some speakers do. Mm-hmm. Do you have a preference, especially when it comes to teenagers? Do you have a preference of working with one over the other? And do you have a preference of working with and speaking to a smaller group as opposed to a larger audience?
I don't necessarily have a preference. As far as speaking to kids in general, it doesn't bother me at all, because I know a lot of males in this day and age, it can be very tough for a male to speak to young ladies. You know, it's very touchy with the way the world is. So some people are uncomfortable, or a lot of males don't have that patience, right? Because of that attitude and the talking and the personality. So that can be tough, but for me, it doesn't matter. And then the second portion, what'd you say that second portion again? I'm sorry, my mind just went blank. I'm sorry.
A small audience versus a larger audience.
Yeah. So a small audience, I would say I prefer, just because you have a bigger impact with a small audience. And more so, a lot of times with that small audience, those are the ones who are really going through something. Because you're not gonna reach that kid who's going home and being abused every day in a large audience. You're not gonna reach that young lady that's having to take care of 5 kids, and she's the oldest at 14 years old. She's gonna sit in the back and say, I gotta leave, or you're not gonna reach that kid that's never at school, but the reason why they're not at school because they're literally doing something that they gotta do to survive. So that smaller audience for me personally is better. I think a larger audience is more so better for a diverse crowd, because that way you can mix and mingle with a lot of different kids. Whereas if everybody's like you in a large setting, it's harder to have an impact. Which you still can have that impact, but I feel like percentage wise, it will be higher in a smaller setting.
For me, I like both male and female. And I like both because probably about last year, no, 2 years ago, I spoke to my very first all-female group at a high school. And so it was probably about 30 young ladies that I spoke to, and just having this mirror. So we do this, one of our topics is called I See You. And so in I See You, you have this tall, full body mirror, and you say these affirmations. Well, that's probably one of the hardest things people can ever do, with just looking in the mirror and speaking positive things over themselves. And so I remember just telling those young ladies to repeat, I am beautiful, I am amazing, I am smart. Like, just seeing them just break down, because nobody ever poured into them like that to tell them that. Nobody, they don't have that dad at home that's saying, baby, I love you, you're phenomenal, you're amazing. So what social media may say is phenomenal and amazing or smart or attractive or whatever, that's what you're trying to be. So for me, I like speaking to both male and female, but then it's like what Dante said, like, I'm the same way. Like, I love the small groups, because that's where we make the most impact. Like, I remember speaking in a classroom, and a kid told me, Mr. Logan, if I didn't hear you today, I would have went home and killed myself. Like that, it messed me up, because I was just like really, like, and here I was, I was like, man, I'm supposed to be going to another school, this and this. And he told me, like, if I ain't hear you speak today, I was going to kill myself. Like, he showed me the letter. He told me how he was going to do it, what he was going to do, all of that. He told me, like, man, I ain't never met nobody that's dealt with suicide before. I ain't never had nobody that's just like, they told me, like, they believe in me, they support me, they want to see me succeed. Like, my own mama don't even pour into me like that, Mr. Logan. Like, how do I know that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna really be there? I gave him my phone number. I gave him my card. I said, email me, call me whenever you need. You want me to come eat lunch with you? I'll come eat lunch with you. Like, you know, people miss it because, again, the whole thing is it's about serving. And that's what it's about for us. It's about inspiring and serving and making an impact. That's what it's about. And so, like I said, for me, I want to talk to male and female, and I want to do it in a small setting because I want to make an impact so that way we can change the narrative and kids' lives can be changed in what we're saying and what we're doing.
So it's so interesting because of how it fits into the whole dynamic of your brand and Y.B.Normal, you know, because that's not normal. To give somebody your number and say, hey, call me, I'll come and sit with you to eat lunch. School lunch is horrible most places. Let's just be honest. Let's not tell no fibs over here. School
This is
lunch
true.
is disrespectful and nasty. And to just, you know, something simple as sitting down to lunch with somebody, something as simple as, you know, the affirmation, something as simple as saying, okay, listen, if you need something, just reach out. Can I tell you that is one of the most powerful things ever, simply because we are in a society that tells us what goes on in this house stays in this house. We are in a society that is telling us that you are to pull yourself up by your own bootstrap, that you need to be able to do it by yourself. You don't need nobody. Yeah, I did the head snap.
I see, I was waiting on the snap.
Right? You don't need nobody. But the reality is that we were never made to do things by ourselves.
Right.
We were made to be loved by people. We were made to do things with people. And even though we may go through some things that may hurt us, we don't like what somebody did, we were still made to work in unison. And they're not necessarily taught that at every stage of the game. When you're going to school, it's a mixed message because they're taught you can work together on some things. On others, you need to be quiet and stay at your desk.
Yep.
You need to work in silence. We don't have to work in silence. Listen, only because I'm recording right now and we're doing the podcast, there is no music on. But at any given time of day, there will be any type of genre of music, from K-pop to merengue to reggae music playing. Because guess what? I don't have to do it in silence. But when we learn, again, Y.B.Normal, when you learn that you can do it however it works for you, that speaks volumes. But now, have you ever had someone tell you that they love to do something that just kind of caught you way off guard? That was just like, yeah, you can have that one. That's not in my arsenal.
Yeah. So I had oh man. I've had that situation before. I'll just say that. Yeah, I've had that situation before, and it was kind of it was different. It was when I first started speaking, and I'm not used to people coming up to me and, you know, spilling out their guts to me. Like, I'm not used to that. You know, like, now I'm accustomed to it, but when I first started speaking and I first started Y.B.Normal, like, I wasn't I'd be like, huh? What? Uh oh yeah, okay, yeah. I'm gonna get back with you on that. And it was just like, you know, I had to realize, like, Logan, you have to understand that in the arena that you're in and where you're at in life, that you have to understand that people are looking to you for solutions. Same thing with Dante. Like, when Dante first joined, I didn't ask anything of him. I told him the only thing that I ask for you to do is to be consistent. I won't ask nothing else. And so a lot of times what happens is that individuals, they make it about them. They make it about them and what they've accomplished and what they've done. And hey, look, I did this, I did that. Like you said, let me pull my own self up. Like, no, there's times where I'm not able to lead and I need Dante to lead. There's times where Dante can't lead and I need to lead. There's things that he's taught me with him walking with me. There's things that he's taught me that I knew nothing about when it came to leadership, when it came to running a company and running a business and going out here and speaking and stuff like that, because there's things that he may see that I may not see, and I need to take heed to that, and I need to see that. Because it ain't about me. It ain't about, how I see it, or, hey, this is my business. This is my company. I'm doing it my way. No. It ain't like that. So, I know I'm like going completely in a different direction, but to answer your question, yes, I'm sorry. I'm real passionate about.
No, that was right on point, because again, we have to be taught that. We have to come back to that reality that, it takes a team. Anybody that ever tells you that as an author, as a speaker, that you can be successful by yourself, they lied to you, and you need to pluck them right in their forehead.
Absolutely.
That's just it. No, you can't do this alone. I understand that there's this whole hype about being a solopreneur. Well, you go ahead and try to be a solopreneur. You go ahead. Now, when you got all them grades and you out here looking 90 and you 35,
right,
you can't blame nobody else. Because there's somebody who's excellent at the things that we're not good at.
Right.
And that's a reality that we had to come to within ourselves, is I'm not good at everything.
Yep.
Emails, I hate them. Social media, so. Graphics, no ma'am, no sir, not today. So I go to somebody who that's their expertise. It's okay to say I don't know how to do everything. It's okay to say that I'm not, perfect. I can be imperfect. That's all right.
Yep. Right.
And being able to not just say that to people and say that to the youth, but being able to show that speaks volumes.
You can't just talk about it. You gotta walk it out too.
Yeah. Walk the talk.
That's it. So I love it. I'm loving this conversation, and I don't want to listen, we'll be on here for hours. Y'all will be looking at me like, is she gonna ask one more question?
No, you good. Hey, ask away. Whatever ask away. Whatever you want to know. We're an open book.
But I love that passion. I love that desire. And like I said, this is actually this is the first time that I've had a speaker or a pair of speakers come onto the podcast who interacted and worked with youth that was not a teacher.
Wow.
And that's powerful, because most times teachers, they're already in that position to be able to impact the youth.
Yeah.
But when somebody comes from the outside in to impact them, and not just do it on a thing of, I'm going to show up once this month, then maybe a month later, 2 months later, I show up, 6 months. Then I show up at y'all graduation like I done been there the whole time. No, we want some consistency, because that consistency, that means a lot to them. Right. It's okay for you to show up the one time and tell me how, oh yeah, you empowering us, and woo, we had that cheerleader, that pep rally moment. And then you not show up again. Now what?
And it's funny you say that, because a lot of times that's what kids are used to. That's what they're used to, because, dad wasn't there, mom isn't there, grandmama's raising me, she's working 2 jobs to make ends meet. I don't have a support system. So I'm used to you coming in that one time and quote unquote making an impact, and then leaving, and then coming back again, and then leaving, and then coming back again, and then leaving. And so I know how to put that front on to make it seem like everything is great. Or, I know how to put that front on, because a lot of times, we'll ask our kids, we'll say, how was school? And they'll say, like most kids, oh, it was straight, it was good. You know, like we have a young man that we mentor now that, you know, Dante said he had just got a phone call. Like, yeah, those small wins, like, yeah, you were amazing today. You know, let's celebrate that. But also, let's talk about why you got thrown out of school 2 days ago. You get what I'm saying? Like, they're not used to that consistency and somebody holding them accountable to say, hey, look, that's great that you did this, but what about this as well?
Yep.
Exactly. I'm like, for me, I know that my niche is working with women. My niche was not teenagers. Maybe because I had 4 of them that I was just like,
I ain't doing it. Nope, don't want
yeah,
it. Nope.
I'm not about that life. Not about
No.
that life. But I do see where that impact is definitely necessary. With me being with my 14s, I have my 3 children and I have custody of my sister. I I see where it's needed. I hear the conversations, and that's another thing that, as a speaker, I guess we get into this mindset when we're talking to youth that we think we have to dumb everything down, and we think that we have to talk in like this kiddie code. And I've made it so I don't do that. I've never done that with my children, simply
Right.
because guess what? The world's not going to talk to them in kiddie code
Nope.
at all. They're going to talk to them hardcore. They're going to they're going to tell them everything that you're not willing to talk to them about. Somebody is already telling them.
Ooh, that's good.
Somebody's already telling them. They're either seeing it on a television show, in a movie, listening to it on a song. Somebody's telling them what you're scared to talk to them about. And so we may be scared because nobody talked to us about it, and that's okay. But then we need to search out some people. We need to search out some Logans and some Dantes. We need to search out some people that are going to help be that filler for the moments where we feel as though we can't do it. And it's okay. Again, as a parent, it's okay to say, I don't know how to talk to my child about suicide.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how to talk to my child about cutting. I don't know how to talk to them about drugs. It's okay to say, I don't know how to talk to them about sex. But you best believe if you don't get somebody to talk to them, somebody going to talk, and it ain't necessarily going to be what you want them to know.
Absolutely.
So that's powerful. And I'm looking at all of the messages, and they're saying, that's good right here. Somebody else said, this is powerful. You are blessing me and inspiring me. And, it all goes back to that service, rolling it into that service. It has to be continuous. It has to be consistent. People need that. And you never know what that child is going to become when they get older, what they're going to remember, how they're going to take that message and be able to regurgitate it. Because they regurgitate everything, y'all.
Absolutely. They soak everything like a sponge.
Exactly. And then we hear them say it in the most strangest times. We're like, they were listening. They were paying attention right then. They heard that. Oh, okay. So I appreciate that. And so I want you to let everybody know how they can get in contact with you, how they can find out more about Y.B.Normal, find you on social media, all of that wonderful stuff.
So we have a YouTube channel on YouTube, of course, at Y.B.Normal. On Instagram, you can find us at Y.B.Normal 2016. We have a Twitter account as well at Y.B.Normal 2016. That's correct.
Yep, 2016.
And then we got so much social media now. It's like you keeping up with your social security number, literally. But we got a Facebook page as well. Everyone go like it. You can review our page. We love to hear the reviews. And also a new thing that we're doing is, oftentimes we try and do success stories. So if somebody has a success story around the world, we tend to try and share those because it's about serving for us. And so anything we see positive, we always share it. And you can hashtag the Y.B.Normal. So if anybody out there has some there where their kid make a grade, somebody got a scholarship, or somebody had to change their lifestyle, their eating habits,
got a job,
weight loss, anything, we try and share all those. So if they just hashtag the Y.B.Normal, or they can just send a message to us, and say, hey, can you share this? We'd love to do that with the hashtag Y.B.Normal. Because like I said, we just love to serve and we love to celebrate anybody's success for that day or whether it be for the year or whatever.
And it's the letter Y, the letter B, and then normal with a question mark. So don't put in WHYBE. It's the letter Y, the letter B, and normal. So Y.B.Normal.
And I'm always celebrating my kids, so I send you all types of
They need to see more positivity in this
I'll
world.
send you all types of stuff. Listen, my oldest daughter, this year she decided she wanted to do field hockey. Listen, she was the goalie for the year. Go ahead, girl. First year doing it.
Send it. Hey, let's do it.
Look, I share it all for you.
Yes.
But also, do you guys travel? Now, that was the other question that I forgot to ask earlier. Is do you guys travel outside of state? Do you to speak at different schools and in different school districts as well?
Yeah, we do. So right now, one of our clients that we're working on is actually in Texas. Another client is in Nevada. And then, of course, we have a client which is just right up the highway in Nashville. But, yeah, we travel all over the country to speak. We've been to Mississippi. We've been to Alabama. We've been to Georgia. Where else? We've been to Smyrna. We've been to Memphis, Knoxville, Nashville, just all over the place, you know. So, yeah, we'll be more than happy to travel for whatever reason, if you want us to speak or do a leadership development or, you know, whatever the case may be.
I love it. So I love every bit of that, guys. Listen, first and foremost, thank you for everybody that's been sharing it out. If you love this episode, I want to hear more information from you. I want to get a review. I want you to tell me, listen, that you're about to go hit up Dante and Logan. I want to hear how this particular topic made you feel. Simply because I know that when it comes to, working with the youth and networking with youth and anything that comes with youth, a lot of y'all get kind of scared and start to tense up. But the reality is that our youth really do need us. And I'm going to call it the Y.B.Normal movement, because in my mind it's a movement. So
first, I just want to say, Alvis, thank you for the opportunity. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be able to, be here on this podcast. So I first want to say thank you for the opportunity. And of course, we give all the glory to God, all of him, none of us, to God be the glory. So we just want to say thank you for the opportunity. It means the world to us.
Most definitely. I appreciate I want to say thank you to you, even though you're not in Maryland,
Hey, let's make it happen.
Look, I'll feel some type of way about that later, but
let's make it happen. Come to
I want to say thank you to you because it's your time. I mean, and our time is valuable, and when we learn to invest time in people, that's major. That's major. So the fact that you guys are investing your time in these youth and supporting them and not just being that fly by night, person or that show up one time and then don't show up again for 6 months, that's amazing. So thank you to both you, Logan, and you, Dante, for all that you do, because guess what? You didn't have to do it. It's a choice that you made, and we're thankful for that choice because so many lives are going to be changed simply from you showing up. Simply from you opening your mouth, simply from you encouraging them. Heck, you may show up and eat that nasty school lunch with them, and that is A-okay. We're going to bless your stomach and bless we're going to bless your stomach and bless your whole body afterwards. But it's making a difference. And even if you don't see it immediately, even if you don't see it in a month, even if you don't see it in 6 months or a year, that is going to make a difference. That one moment, every single moment. And it is, so I'm going off track. So something that I said when I wrote my first book was my prayer was that every time somebody touches this book, a life is changed, a legacy is changed. Every time somebody reads this book, touches it to give it to somebody else, a legacy is changed. And I see that happening in you guys. I see that happening for each and every child that you come in contact with, is that a legacy is being changed. So even if it's for 15 minutes or 15 hours, whatever time you're spending with them is a seed that is being sown. And we know that, look, Seed is given to the sower. And even if we plant the seed and somebody else waters it, the seed has been planted.
Absolutely.
So that speaks volumes. I appreciate that. And yeah, that's way off, but that's okay. I appreciate that. If nobody else says it to you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And so you guys, those of you that have been watching Speakeasy, you guys know that, listen, it's always the behind the scenes stuff of being the speaker or the author. It's taking it to a whole nother level. For those of you that are saying that you want to impact the youth, you want to connect with the youth, you want to try to start doing something in the schools, guess what? Reach out to Logan, reach out to Dante, hook up with them. Maybe y'all can connect and collaborate and do something together. You never know, but you never know until you take the steps, until you make a decision that you're going to actually do something. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Don't forget, if you are a speaker or an author, I would love to have you on the platform. bit.ly/Speakeasy Podcast, all lowercase, is how you can go and pick a date that works best for you. And guys, listen, who am I? I'm the host, duh. But Out to Be Spells-er, the voice coach, professional speaker, certified life coach, Amazon bestselling author, and podcaster. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.